One anonymous text message shattered my perfect life. Your wife isn't going to any marketing conference. You deserve to know the truth. I never imagined that investigating those words would uncover a web of betrayal far darker than a simple affair. What started as a husband's suspicion turned into a high-stakes game of corporate espionage and revenge. They thought they could play me for a fool. Instead, I orchestrated the most spectacular takedown our company had ever seen. But revenge, as they say, is a dish best served to a live audience. I'm Nathan, 34M, and I've been married to Rachel, 32F, for 8 years. We both work at the same tech company in Seattle. I'm a software developer, and she's in marketing. Our life seemed perfect, at least it's what I thought until that Wednesday morning. Rachel was getting ready for a week-long marketing conference in San Francisco. I watched her pack from our bedroom doorway, noticing how she meticulously folded her new dresses, ones I'd never seen before. She'd spent an unusual amount of time shopping lately, but I'd brushed it off as normal conference prep. Got everything you need? I asked, sipping my morning coffee. She jumped slightly, as if my voice had startled her. Another red flag I chose to ignore. Yeah, almost done, she replied, carefully placing what looked like new lingerie into her suitcase. Just want to make sure I look professional for all the networking events. I nodded, though something felt off. Rachel had attended plenty of conferences before, but she'd never put this much effort into packing. She'd even gotten her hair and nails done the day before, something she usually saved for special occasions. Don't forget to take pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge, I said, trying to keep things light. Maybe we can plan a vacation there sometime. She gave me a tight smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Sure, honey, that would be nice. As I watched her finish packing, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me check the message. Your wife isn't going to any marketing conference. Check the attendee list for the SF Digital Summit. You deserve to know the truth. My heart started racing. Who would send something like this? I wanted to dismiss it as a prank, but there was this nagging feeling in my gut that wouldn't go away. Hey, Rach. I tried to keep my voice casual. Which company is organizing the conference again? She paused for a moment too long. Oh, it's the usual one. Digital Marketing Association. She waved her hand dismissively, not meeting my eyes. I nodded and pretended to check some work emails while I quickly searched for the SF Digital Summit. My hands were shaking as I found their website and clicked on the attendee directory. There it was, or rather, there it wasn't. No Rachel Mitchell listed anywhere. I checked 3 times, my stomach nodding with each search. Just then, another message came through. Check her Instagram DMs. She left her account logged in on the office computer. Look for messages from Brandon Cooper. Brandon Cooper. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Our new client success manager, who joined the company 3 months ago. The one Rachel had been having a lot of client meetings with lately. I felt sick. This couldn't be happening. But as I sat there, memories started flooding back. The late nights at work, the new clothes, the sudden gym membership, the way she guarded her phone. I needed proof. I needed to know for sure. And if what I suspected was true, I needed a plan. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of what would become the most intense week of my life. I sat there staring at my phone for what felt like hours. My mind was racing with possibilities, none of them good. I needed help, someone with a clear head who could help me think this through. That's when I remembered Jessica. Jessica, 31F, was our IT security specialist and probably the smartest person I knew. We'd become friends over the years, bonding over our shared love of solving complex problems. If anyone could help me navigate this mess, it would be her. I messaged her. Need your help. Can we meet at Joe's Coffee? It's important. Her response came quickly. Be there in 20. The cafe was quiet when Jessica arrived. One look at my face, and she knew something was seriously wrong. I showed her the messages and explained my suspicions. Nathan, she said slowly, there's something you should know. I've seen Brandon and Rachel together at Luna Bar after work hours. I wasn't sure if I should tell you. My hands gripped the coffee cup so hard I thought it might break. When? Twice last week. They look close. I'm so sorry, Nathan. I should have said something sooner. I took a deep breath. I need to know for sure, Jess. Can you help me? She nodded, her expression turning serious. Actually, I can do better than that. Brandon's been using his company laptop to book travel arrangements. As IT security, I have access to all company devices. A few taps on her phone, and her face darkened. Nathan, they're both booked at the Fairmont in San Francisco. Same floor, adjoining rooms. The pieces were falling into place, and each one felt like a knife in my chest. But I wasn't about to let them get away with this. What's your plan? Jessica asked, seeing the determination in my eyes. First, I need to book a flight to San Francisco. Then, I'm going to need your help with something bigger. But it has to stay between us. I explained my idea. Jessica's eyes widened. Then a slow smile spread across her face. That's brilliant. And you know what? The company's annual virtual conference is streaming this week. We can use that. We spent the next hour planning everything in detail. Jessica would handle the technical aspects, while I'd take care of the confrontation. By the time we finished, I had a first-class ticket to San Francisco and a reservation at the Fairmont, on a different floor from Rachel and Brandon. On my way home, I received another anonymous message. Good luck. Make them regret it. I still don't know who sent those messages, but whoever it was, they did me a favor. Without them, I might have stayed blind to what was happening right under my nose. That night, I kissed Rachel goodbye as she left for her conference. She promised to call me when she landed. I smiled and waved, playing the role of the trusting husband one last time. After she left, I packed my own bag, including something special Jessica had given me, a small device that would help execute our plan. Tomorrow, I would be in San Francisco too, and Rachel's perfect little affair was about to blow up in her face. I should have felt nervous or scared, but all I felt was a cold determination. They wanted to play games? Fine. But they were about to learn that they'd picked the wrong person to deceive. The Fairmont San Francisco is exactly as luxurious as its website suggests. As I checked in around noon, I couldn't help but think about how much of our joint savings Rachel must have spent to stay here. Jessica had already worked her magic. They're having lunch at the hotel's rooftop restaurant, she texted. Brandon just used his company card to pay for it. I dropped off my bags in my room on the 9th floor and pulled out the device Jessica had given me, a small tablet loaded with everything we needed. At 2 p.m., Jessica texted again. They're heading to Fisherman's Wharf. Both phones moving together. Perfect. Time for phase 1. The hotel staff let me into Rachel's room after confirming my identity. The sight of their adjoining rooms made my blood boil. Rachel's suitcase was there, with our honeymoon photo on the bedside table. The irony was almost too much. I set up Jessica's device and waited. At 6 p.m., they returned. Rachel was laughing at something Brandon had said, her hand on his arm. They froze when they saw me. Nathan? Rachel's face went pale. What? What are you doing here? Enjoying the marketing conference? I asked calmly. Strange. I've been watching our company's virtual conference all day, but I haven't seen either of you present. Brandon stepped forward, trying to look intimidating. Look, man, this isn't what you think, Dash. Really? Because I think my wife and our client success manager booked adjoining rooms while pretending to be at different events. Rachel started crying. Nathan, please, I can explain. Save it, I said, standing up. But before you say anything else, you might want to know that you're both live on the company's conference stream right now. Their heads snapped to the tablet in my hands. Thanks to Jessica's skills, we had hijacked a portion of the virtual conference feed. Everyone at the company, including Brandon's wife, was watching this unfold in real time. How long? I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. 3 months, Rachel whispered. Nathan, I'm so sorry. Save your apologies, I said. You'll need them for HR tomorrow. Both of you. As if on cue, both their phones started ringing, probably their supervisors. Brandon showed his wife's photo. I walked out, leaving them to deal with the chaos they created. In my room, I texted Jessica, it's done. Her reply came instantly. You did great. Check your email. I sent you something interesting from Brandon's laptop. Looks like they were planning to start their own marketing firm, using our client list. I smiled grimly. The night wasn't over yet. Not by a long shot. I spent the next hour going through the emails Jessica had sent me. My hands were shaking, but this time with anger rather than nerves. Rachel and Brandon hadn't just been having an affair. They'd been plotting to steal our company's biggest clients for their new venture. You need to see this, I texted Jessica, forwarding the most damning emails. They were planning to launch next month. Already sent everything to legal, she replied. The CEO wants to meet with you tomorrow morning. Video call at 9 a.m. I ordered room service and tried to relax, but my phone kept buzzing with messages from coworkers. Word had spread fast. The company's Slack channels were on fire with screenshots from the live stream. I switched off notifications and poured myself a drink from the minibar. Around midnight, someone knocked on my door. It was Brandon. Please, he said, looking desperate. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I should have shut the door in his face. Instead, I let him in. Maybe I wanted to hear what possible excuse he could have. Melissa left me, he said, slumping into a chair. She's taking the kids to her sister's. My life is over. Funny how actions have consequences. I replied, no sympathy in my voice. Was it worth it? He looked up, and suddenly his desperation turned to anger. You think you're so clever with your little tech trick? Rachel never loved you anyway. She was just settling for Dash. I cut him off. Get out. And Brandon? Check your email. The company knows about your little startup plan. Hope you got a good lawyer. After he left, I got another message from an unknown number. Second floor conference room. 30 minutes. Bring your tablet. I knew I should probably ignore it, but curiosity got the better of me. The hotel was quiet as I made my way down. The conference room lights were on, and through the glass doors, I could see someone waiting. It was Melissa, Brandon's wife. I came as soon as I saw the stream, she said as I sat down. Tell me everything you know. And I mean everything. I showed her the emails about their business plan. She wasn't surprised. That explains the mysterious withdrawals from our joint account, she said quietly. They weren't just betraying you and me. They were going to betray everyone. We spent the next hour comparing notes, filling in the gaps in each other's stories. Turned out Brandon had been lying to both of us for months. Meeting Melissa made me realize something. I wasn't alone in this mess. As we were leaving, Rachel appeared in the hallway. She stopped short when she saw us together. Well, she said bitterly, this is cozy. Already moving on, Nathan? Before I could respond, Melissa stepped forward. Unlike some people, we actually have integrity. By the way, Rachel, I just got off the phone with my brother at the Securities and Exchange Commission. He's very interested in your little business plan. Rachel's face went white. She turned and practically ran back to the elevator. I looked at Melissa with newfound respect. Your brother really works for the SEC? She smiled. No, but she doesn't know that. Maybe it was inappropriate, but we both started laughing. Sometimes, that's all you can do in these situations. The next morning hit like a tornado. At exactly 9 a.m., my tablet lit up with a video call from our CEO, David Chen. I straightened my tie, took a deep breath, and accepted the call. Nathan, David's face was grave. I've been up all night dealing with this situation. Tell me you have copies of everything. I nodded. Jessica helped me secure all the evidence. Emails, calendar invites, client lists, everything showing their plans. Good man, David leaned back in his chair. Legal's reviewing it now. But here's where it gets interesting. 3 of our biggest clients called this morning. Apparently, Brandon and Rachel had already approached them about moving their accounts to their new agency. My stomach dropped. This was worse than we thought. They're both suspended pending investigation, David continued. But Nathan, I need you to come back immediately. We need damage control. And you're the only one who knows these client systems inside out. I agreed and booked the next flight back to Seattle. As I was packing, Jessica called. You won't believe what I just found, she said without preamble. Remember that big system crash last month? The one that lost us the Peterson account? It wasn't an accident. I found traces of deliberate code corruption on Brandon's laptop. I sat down hard on the bed. The Peterson account was worth millions. We'd all worked overtime trying to fix that crash, while Rachel had comforted me about losing the client. Now it all made sense. They'd been sabotaging us from the inside. Back in Seattle that afternoon, I walked into chaos. HR had called an emergency all-hands meeting. The office was buzzing with whispers and sideways glances. I kept my head high as I made my way to the conference room. Our HR director, Linda, was direct. By now, you've all seen the live stream from yesterday. What you don't know is the extent of the corporate espionage we've uncovered. This is no longer just about an affair. This is about trust and legal liability. She outlined the situation without naming names, but everyone knew who she meant. By the end of the meeting, it was clear Rachel and Brandon weren't just fired, they were going to be sued. As people filed out, my team stopped by my desk one by one, not to gossip, but to show support. Mark from back-end development brought me coffee. Sarah from QA gave me a quiet, "We got your back." Even the new intern awkwardly patted my shoulder. That's when Rachel appeared at the office door, escorted by security to clear out her desk. Our eyes met across the room. For a moment, I saw something like regret flash across her face. Then she looked away, hastily shoving pictures and personal items into a box. The photos of us together, those she left behind. A week after the San Francisco incident, I found myself sitting in our company's legal department, surrounded by lawyers. Jessica sat next to me, her laptop open to display the evidence she'd gathered. The damages could be in the millions, our lead counsel explained. The Peterson account alone, not to mention the attempted client poaching. They've both violated their non-compete agreements. I nodded, watching as she flipped through documents. The last week had been a blur of depositions and meetings. Rachel's lawyer had already reached out about a quiet settlement for our divorce. She wanted to avoid more publicity. "One more thing," Jessica spoke up. "I found something interesting in the metadata of those corrupted files. The sabotage wasn't just Brandon. Someone else's credentials were used. Someone with higher access." The lawyer's eyebrows shot up. "Are you saying?" "Rachel's login was used to authorize the changes," Jessica confirmed. "They were working together on everything." Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Melissa. "Coffee? I have news." 20 minutes later, I was at our usual coffee shop. Melissa and I had been meeting regularly, supporting each other through this mess. Today, she looked different, almost excited. "Remember my non-existent CC brother?" She grinned. "Well, I actually did call the SEC. Turns out, Brandon was doing more than stealing clients. He was trading company stocks based on insider information." I nearly choked on my coffee. "What?" "The SEC is investigating both of them," she continued. "Rachel's name is all over the trading records." Before I could respond, Davidson walked into the coffee shop. Our CEO didn't usually frequent this place. He spotted us and walked over. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. "I think we need to talk about the future of our marketing department." I gestured to the empty chair, curious. David sat down and got straight to the point. "Nathan, I want you to head up our new client retention task force. After what happened, we need someone our clients trust. And Melissa," he turned to her, "we have an opening in our legal compliance team. Jessica tells me you have experience in that area." We looked at each other, surprised. From the ashes of their betrayal, something positive was emerging. "Life's funny sometimes," Melissa said later as we left. "They tried to steal the company's future, and instead, they gave us new opportunities." She was right. In trying to destroy us, Rachel and Brandon had actually brought together an unlikely group of allies. And we were stronger for it. 2 months after the incident, life had taken some unexpected turns. My new role as head of client retention was keeping me busy, and I'd managed to not only save our existing accounts, but bring back Peterson. Turns out, when clients hear the full story of corporate espionage and sabotage, they appreciate transparency. Mr. Peterson himself had called me personally to discuss returning, saying he valued integrity above all else. I was reviewing contracts late one evening when Jessica poked her head into my office. The new office, a corner space with actual windows, courtesy of my recent promotion. "You need to see this," she said, placing her tablet on my desk. It was a tech industry news site. The headline made me sit up straight. "Tech startup founders arrested for securities fraud and corporate espionage." "They try to launch their agency anyway," Jessica explained, pulling up more details. "Used a friend as a front. But the SEC was watching their every move. Remember all those suspicious trades we found? That was just the tip of the iceberg." The article included mugshots of both Rachel and Brandon. They looked terrible. Nothing like the confident manipulators who'd thought they could get away with everything. Rachel's designer clothes had been replaced by an orange jumpsuit, her carefully styled hair now limp and unkempt. Brandon's arrogant smirk was gone, replaced by a look of defeated resignation. "There's more," Jessica said, scrolling down. "They didn't just target our company. 3 other firms have come forward with similar stories. They've been running this scheme for years, even before Rachel and I started working here." My phone buzzed. It was Melissa, Seen the news? Drinks at Murphy's? The whole team wants to celebrate. The team had become our little support group, me, Melissa, Jessica, and a few others who'd helped expose the truth. We'd started having regular Friday gatherings, helping each other heal while rebuilding our professional lives. These people had become more than colleagues. They were true friends who'd stood by me during the darkest time of my life. At Murphy's, I looked around at these people who'd become such an important part of my life. Jessica was showing Melissa something on her phone, both of them laughing. Mark from development was arguing playfully with Sarah from QA about coding standards. Even David Chun had started dropping by occasionally, shedding his CEO persona to just be part of the group. Speech, someone called out. All eyes turned to me. I stood, raising my glass. To karma, I said simply. And to friends who have your back when you need them most. And to new beginnings, Melissa added, giving me a meaningful look that made my heart skip a beat. Later, as we walked to our cars, Melissa hung back to talk to me. The Seattle rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening under the streetlights. Nathan, I've been thinking, she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Would you like to grab dinner sometime? Just the two of us. I felt a flutter of surprise. And something else. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. Something I thought Rachel had killed forever. Hope. But before I could answer, my phone rang. It was David Chun. Nathan, check your email now, he said, his voice urgent. You're not going to believe what Rachel just tried to do. I stood there in the rain with Melissa, quickly opening my email. What I saw made my blood run cold. Rachel had somehow managed to send a mass email to all our clients, claiming she was forced into the fraud scheme by me and the company. The email was filled with detailed accusations, painting me as a manipulative mastermind who had orchestrated everything to take control of the client relationships. She's trying to take us all down with her, I said to Melissa, showing her the email. Claims I knew about everything and orchestrated the whole thing to frame her and Brandon. She even attached screenshots of old emails between us, completely out of context. That's insane, Melissa replied, reading quickly. She's facing serious charges. This will only make things worse for her. Look at the timestamps on these emails. They're from before any of this started. My phone rang again, Jessica this time. Don't worry, she said before I could speak. I've got proof she's lying. Remember when I was tracking their activities? I kept everything. Timestamps, access logs, IP addresses. Every time they accessed the system, every file they modified, every client they contacted. There's no way you could have been involved. I took a deep breath, watching the rain create puddles in the parking lot. Send everything to David and legal. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I turned to Melissa, apologetic, but she was already grabbing her keys, her face set with determination. I'm coming with you. You shouldn't deal with this alone. Besides, I have experience with desperate last stands. Brandon tried something similar last week. Back at the office, the crisis team was assembled in the main conference room. David sat at the head of the table, his usual calm demeanor tinged with anger. Jessica had her laptop open, multiple screens showing various logs and timestamps. Our legal team was reviewing documents, and even Mr. Peterson himself had called in via video conference, his distinguished face serious on the large screen. It's a desperate play, our lead lawyer said, reviewing Jessica's evidence. She's trying to create reasonable doubt for her trial. But these logs are bulletproof. Every action is time-stamped and verified. If anything, this just proves further conspiracy on their part. Mr. Peterson spoke up from the screen, his voice firm. Nathan, we've worked together for years. None of our clients believe these accusations. In fact, her email just proves we made the right choice coming back to your team. Trust isn't built on words. It's built on actions, and your actions have consistently shown integrity. As everyone worked to draft responses and contact clients, Melissa pulled me aside into the break room. The city lights twinkled through the windows, creating a strangely peaceful atmosphere amid the chaos. Remember what you were about to say? She asked softly. Before all this happened? I looked at her, this amazing woman who'd been through her own nightmare, but came out stronger, who understood exactly what I'd been through because she'd lived it too. Yes, I said. I was going to say I'd love to have dinner with you. She smiled, and for a moment, all the chaos around us faded away. Tomorrow night? after we finish cleaning up this mess? It's a date, I replied, realizing I was smiling too. For the first time in months, I felt truly hopeful about the future. Jessica cleared her throat behind us, trying to hide a smile. Sorry to interrupt the moment, but you both need to hear this. Rachel just got arrested again. Apparently, sending that email violated her bail conditions. No contact with any company employees or clients. The FBI is involved now. Sometimes karma works fast, and sometimes it brings unexpected gifts along the way. The next evening, I found myself standing in front of my closet, actually nervous about what to wear. After everything that had happened, a first date shouldn't have felt like such a big deal. But it did. I chose a blue button-down shirt that Jessica had once said brought out my eyes. As I adjusted my collar, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Tech industry fraud case. Rachel Mitchell pleads guilty. I quickly scanned the article. Rachel had accepted a plea deal, agreeing to testify against Brandon in exchange for a reduced sentence. The prosecutor's office was confident they had enough evidence to put Brandon away for a long time. Saw the news? Melissa texted. Guess we have one more thing to celebrate tonight. I smiled, grabbing my keys. We'd agreed to meet at Canlis, Seattle's most romantic restaurant. Not subtle, but we were done with subtlety. Melissa was already there when I arrived, wearing a dark green dress that made her eyes sparkle. She stood to greet me, and for a moment, we both hesitated. Was a hug too familiar? A handshake too formal? She solved the dilemma by kissing my cheek. Hi, she said softly. Over dinner, we talked about everything except our exes. She told me about growing up in Portland, her dreams of becoming a writer before law school beckoned. I shared stories about my disaster attempts at learning guitar. You know, she said during dessert, I never thanked you properly. If you hadn't exposed them that day, who knows how long their scheme would have continued. I never thanked you either, I replied. You helped me stay sane through all of this. Made me realize I wasn't alone. As we walked along the waterfront after dinner, Melissa took my hand. It felt natural, right? The Seattle skyline reflected in the water, and a light breeze carried the scent of salt and possibility. I got another call from the prosecutor today, she said. They want us both to testify at Brandon's trial next month. I squeezed her hand. We'll face it together. Looking at her in the moonlight, I realized something. Rachel's betrayal had led me exactly where I needed to be. 1 year later, I sat in the courthouse, watching as Brandon was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Rachel had received 3 years as part of her plea deal and was already serving her time. Their startup dreams and schemes had crumbled to dust, taking their freedom with them. Melissa sat beside me, her hand intertwined with mine. After Brandon was led away, we met Jessica outside the courthouse. She'd been the star witness, her meticulous documentation of their crimes proving invaluable to the prosecution. Well, that's finally over, Jessica said, adjusting her glasses. By the way, Nathan, you'll never guess who applied for a job in our marketing department yesterday. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, Rachel's sister, Jessica smirked. I guess she didn't get the memo about family connections. We all laughed, the sound echoing off the courthouse columns. It felt good to be able to laugh about it now. Later that evening, our team gathered at Murphy's to celebrate. The place had become our regular spot, so much so that the owner, Mike, had given us our own corner with a reserved sign. David Chin raised his glass in a toast. To the best team I've ever worked with, he said. Our company's stronger than ever. Last quarter was our best yet, and it's all thanks to the people in this room. He was right. After the scandal, we'd implemented new security protocols designed by Jessica. Melissa had helped develop a comprehensive compliance program, and my client retention strategy had brought in 5 new major accounts. Mark from development clinked his glass against mine. Remember when we thought the Peterson account was gone for good? Now they're bringing us their international division too. As conversations flowed around me, I looked at these people who'd become my family. Sarah from QA was showing everyone pictures of her new puppy. Jessica was explaining something technical to Mike, the owner, who looked completely lost but interested anyway. David was trying to convince Melissa to join the company's softball team. Melissa caught my eye and smiled that special smile that still made my heart skip. We'd moved in together 3 months ago, taking things slow but steady. Last week, I'd gone ring shopping with Jessica. My phone buzzed, an email notification. It was from Rachel, Sent through the prison email system. Nathan, I heard about your promotion to COO. Congratulations. I know it probably doesn't mean much, but I'm truly sorry for everything. The therapy here is helping me understand how destructive my actions were. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just wanted you to know that you deserve better. I hope you're happy. Rachel. I showed the email to Melissa. She read it thoughtfully. Are you going to reply? I shook my head. No need. That chapter's closed. Just then, Jessica clinked her glass for attention. Sorry to interrupt, but I have an announcement. I just got approved to start my own cybersecurity division within the company, and I want Nathan and Melissa to be part of the advisory board. As congratulations erupted around us, I pulled Melissa closer. Speaking of announcements, I reached into my pocket, feeling the small velvet box. Want to step outside for a minute? She looked at me, understanding dawning in her eyes. Yes, she whispered, to stepping outside, and to whatever you're about to ask me. Life is a funny way of working out. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the best outcomes. Looking back at that day, I received the anonymous text about Rachel. I realized it wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning. Oh, and we never did figure out who sent those messages. But whoever you are, thank you. You didn't just expose a fraud. You helped me find my way to where I was meant to be. Edit. Wow, this blew up? Thanks for all the awards and support. And to those asking, yes, Melissa said yes.